What are your experiences of being a referee?
I qualified at 14 years old. Been doing it for 4 years now 18. I've been assaulted refereeing. I've been abused by parents, spectators, coaches, and threatened by players. It's something that happens sort of on a regular basis now.
How on earth do you tolerate that?
You sort of, at the start, you see it as a potential career, people telling you this is a potential career, it's part and parcel of the game, it's part of the job. You're a referee, you're expected to take that abuse, but the more it goes on, you actually go, you know what, this isn't okay, and it starts to take its toll, and that's what's happened to me this season.
Robert, you've been doing it a little bit longer than Joe. Have you seen it change over the years?
I'm not 100% certain I have, because obviously with the pandemic, there was a massive gap there where no football was taking place at all. And so when you come back to it, I can see that maybe the pandemic has caused, or the lack of football has actually caused them to be more excitable. But personally, since the pandemic, I've not experienced anything really. You've had the odd words said and the odd comment made by a player, but 9 times out of 10 they'll listen to what you have to say.
There's one thing being excitable, and then there's one thing when it tips over into abuse. And I think that's what a lot of the respondents in this questionnaire were talking about. It's abuse. It isn't just people that are too keen.
Yeah.
They're shouting, they're swearing, they're physically assaulting the referees. That's not on.
No, it's not. It's totally unacceptable. And the worst part about it is that, as Joe's alluded to earlier, under 14, if you can qualify as a referee at 14, you cannot, FA guidelines are, you cannot referee age 14 or over, but you can referee age groups under you. And the problem is not the players. If ever you've seen kids playing football, they just run around the field. Mums and dads are the nightmare. And as Joe said, some coaches as well. Yeah. I mean, I acted as a mentor to one of our referees. He's now, I think he's in his late 20s now, he's Chris. But I remember going to see him. And at that time, they'd already started the Respect campaign, where spectators on one side of the pitch, coaches on the other side of the pitch. And the abuse that even the club assistant was getting from some of these parents, unacceptable. You know, the language being used by these parents, they should be locked up. You know, safeguarding issues, we all have to go through safeguarding training. And something I learned when I was doing the safeguarding training, if you actually swear in front of an 18-year-old or under, it's against the law. And yet these parents, and it's not just restricted to men, women as well, using some of the language, honestly, you probably wouldn't use it yourself.
No.
And then
let's see what Chris has to say about all of this, because Chris Sutton is listening intently to all of this. Chris, morning to you. Now, you have seen this from all sides now, haven't you? As a player, as a parent, and now as a referee. What did you make of what you found out?
I thought it was a really interesting exercise, because I've never ever thought about putting myself in the referee's shoes and to see things from a referee's perspective. I have to say, I felt totally out of my comfort zone. The game which I refereed, I found quite enjoyable after initial nerves, but that was down to the behaviour of the players on the pitch. It was Rose Hill against Didcot in the Oxfordshire area, and the players were excellent. The parents behaved impeccably. So in that respect, I found the game, pretty easy and enjoyable. It was played in a good spirit, but the bigger picture here is, as far as I can see, with regards to grassroots and refereeing, there is a decline in numbers. And just listening to Joe's story, and there are countless stories. Megan, the girl who was assessing me on the day, their stories are horrific. And you have to ask yourself, why would anybody want to put themselves through that on a Sunday morning? I don't get that. If people want grassroots football to thrive and survive, then the attitude towards referees from players, from coaches and from parents does need to change. It has been going on far too long, and it does need to stop. I have to say there was an incident sort of 15 years ago with my own son, where I ran onto the field because I was worried about him being seriously injured, and I had a few choice words for the referee. And I look back, at that moment and think, I was totally wrong to do that, albeit I was a parent. I got caught up in the moment, but taking a step back, I didn't help the young referee at that particular time, and I realise that's unacceptable. And as I say, if we want grassroots football to really thrive, then people need to start really respecting referees more. Otherwise, why would they do it? A lot of referees get up on a Sunday morning. They do it for virtually nothing. Grassroots football needs volunteers, and why would anybody want to put themselves through receiving abuse on a Sunday morning? I don't understand that. They'll walk away.
And let's ask Joe that exact question. Why put yourself through it? Because we can see the impact that it might have on the pitch there in the moment, but do you end up taking a lot of this home with you as well after the match?
Sometimes. So, as Chris said, I actually have to do it. I started out because I loved football and I wanted to stay in the game. I wasn't a good player. But also, at 14 years old, it was a very good way to make a bit of money to be able to, go to school, buy yourself a drink on the way to and from school. Now it puts petrol in my car so I can drive, continue to have lunch at sixth form, stuff like that. And some games I do take home. You sit there and you go, there's been countless times my dad or my mum's got a call because now I'm driving, they don't come with me anymore. But you sit there and you give them a call and go, you know what, I'm packing this in, I'm not doing this no more. And then you come home and you can be in the mood for the whole rest of the day because a parent's jumped the respect barrier or a system.
Jumped the respect barrier?
Yeah, that's happened, yeah. Happened to me 3 weeks ago. It's such a common thing now. You sit there and you go like, what's the point? And, sometimes, part of the reason I carry on is because I still enjoy it and I still want to help other young referees who might not be as lucky as me to have got the support I got from other refereeing colleagues. And then you sit there and go, if I pack it in, what examples that's setting for them. But then as my mum said, she goes, what are you going to do for your petrol this week if you don't do it, because I've still got my A-levels that I've got to do.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
the
one of those
reality.
tough situations where I absolutely love refereeing,